Hi, folks. It's Darla. Welcome back to Dare Tell. For those that don't know, I live in Maine, and we moved here just prior to COVID. We moved here in the dead of winter, and it was there was no internet, there was nothing. We live off the grid. There's more to it than that, and I'll probably tell you some more later if you have questions. But this channel is for true stories. I'm not looking for fiction. I'm looking for your truth on subjects such as the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, cryptids such as Bigfoot, and anything else that might live in the skies, the forest, the sea, or your truth if you want to set something straight. If somebody told a lie about you, as long as you're not going to get me sued or get yourself sued, then I'll share it. Send your stories to mecalgal@gmail.com. That's MECALGAL. Okay, mecalgal@gmail.com. And you folks know the drill. If you want to keep hearing the stories, you have to hit that like button or write something in the comments. And I prefer that you subscribe. So that's all up to you. Okay, we're going to get on to today's story. Hey there, Miss Darla. I've been trying to figure out this for many years. Maybe you and your viewers can help me. Do you believe in reincarnation? I know I was raised that our lifetime is a one and done. I was raised Southern Baptist and wondered what would the point be in trying to follow Jesus, or why shouldn't I rob a bank if we're not going to be held for judgment and we're all just going to go another lifetime around anyhow. But I can't figure out a thing or two that's been bugging me my whole life. And before anyone says so, it was not a dream. I remember being a child in my same old town of White Oak, and it was during a time where riding a horse was more likely than riding in a car. I remember taking all day to travel to the ocean. We would get our lobsters, which were not the big deal that they were nowadays, and other shellfish and seafood. We had ice blocks and would travel back home and sell the seafood in our butcher shop, along with our other meats. I remember where the shop was, but it's not there now. I remember getting a new pair of shoes, but a boy my age, and I believe my best friend, needed shoes, and I'd gotten so much trouble for giving him mine, I wasn't allowed to play with him anymore. I was so scared to stand up to my father, and so how am I bothered today in 2025 that I didn't stand up to my father in an era that I don't live in? I also know the small town was segregated. Your skin color determined what side of the railroad tracks you lived on. I was black then, but white now. I remember a happy childhood, but that is all. I do not remember growing up or being an adult or how I died. But that's not all, Miss Darla. I remember another lifetime being discovered, quote unquote, at a formal dance held at the plantation hall. I was a very handsome young man and I knew it. It worked in my favor. So I made it to Hollywood. That's all I remember. Feeling the opportunity, feeling the success, but not remembering any more than that. There are a few places I remember that have changed over time in this town, yet not in this lifetime. I know I played marbles on the wood floor, avoiding the cracks, with the same friends regularly at the Mercantile. But again, I don't remember when this began or where it ended, only that it did. I don't remember being born anywhere else, nowhere else, just my favorite place to be in the whole world, my hometown. Thank you for letting me get this out. Just call me Boomerang. Okay, Boomerang, well, thank you for sharing your story. And actually, I do understand. And I'm wondering if any of you other viewers out there have had the same experiences where you know that you've been in that place before. Because I was born in a small town in California. And in that small town, the house that we lived in on the corner of Tucker Street, kind of kitty corner, there was this other house that had a balcony. I remember people being up there in a Victorian age, being very well dressed, celebrating, having their drinks, their teas, their drinks, just overlooking. There was no, at that time, there was no houses in front of this house that had the balcony. There are now. Actually, the house that had the balcony was torn down like 5 years ago. That's the strange part. It's like, I remember it when it was fairly new. I also remember when you're looking out from that balcony where there's a school now, and that school is very old, actually. I went to school there as a child, and my parents went to school there. But at one point, it was a field, and I remember the fireworks in the sky, and in the fireworks, there was like a Liberty Bell and Paul Revere's On a Pony done in fireworks. Like, this is how these fireworks were amazing. But I haven't seen anything that great since. And yet, I didn't see it in this lifetime. I do recall that I'm almost positive I was a boy then. I just remember I was a young child, but I think I was a boy when I saw these things in the sky. Another time I remember the same street, walking down the street with my mother now, but in this lifetime, she was my sister. She was my older sister, and we were doing housekeeping for somebody that was more wealthier up the block. So yes, Boomerang, I do understand what you're saying. And no, I don't believe I had dreams. I had those memories, those vivid memories that have been with me my entire life. So I do understand what you're talking about. All right, folks, if you have a story to share with me, mecalgal@gmail.com. And I hope to hear from you soon. All right, bye.